that, and that should now be available. Okay, so we're live streaming. So if you find this interesting, you want to do this at home, you'll be able to find the video. Okay, so what we were talking about is making a game called Minecraft Mobsters. The first thing that we did last time is we did this line trace thing. Remember on the left there, it says cube mesh when I'm looking at it. It says left arm static mesh. How is it knowing whatever I'm looking at any given point in time? Well, we made a system of line tracing. So what I do is open this up. We did this custom event called line trace for objects. So we shoot an invisible line from the start location and then to the end location. I just made these things called start location. I drag the end location this way, and it shoots a line. And then we store that in a result, in a variable. And then we're printing whatever the name of the thing we hit is. And we can see that line if I actually hit, all right, 4-1 frame or whatever. Now you'll actually see that there's a line being drawn, that little red thing, right? So we can always sense what the user is looking at. So that's really important. So something that I remembered between last time and today is I actually made a Minecraft, sort of a small Minecraft project for a school, like a short-term like teaching school for elementary kids. So, okay, is that the live stream link? Cool, smart. Thanks. And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna open that up because what I think I did in that is I think I made like a mock creeper, so we can use that as just like a mock, like, you know, prototype. And I also made oh my gosh, guys, I wasn't even showing you my my screen during all that. See, I'm gonna get used to this, obviously. So sorry, what I was trying to do is show you kind of this stuff, the line trace stuff. So just real quick, yes, you know, when I hit play, you can see I'm actually line tracing. So I'm sensing whatever's in front of me, and on the left there, it's printing the words of what I'm actually seeing. And the way the code works for that is we made a custom event called line trace for objects, plug in a start and end, right? It does line trace by channel, stores it as a variable, so later on we can ask, hey, what was the thing we hit? And then it's printing that. And since it's doing that constantly, we can always know in our code what we're looking at. So that's going to be really useful for whether, you know, we make like an Enderman mob where you can pick up objects or something or anything like that. So what I was saying before is I made a project for a lesson I did for elementary schoolers, and we're going to open that up. It's been like a year since I've opened this up, but I have some Minecraft assets, and we're going to migrate those over so we have some things to work with. So when you open up a project in Unreal that was made in an older version, it's going to say, oh, select the engine version, and you're going to select the current version you have. But then once it loads in, it's going to be like, well, this was made in an older version. Do you want to make a copy or convert the old one? Because sometimes if you convert it in place, it might break a bunch of stuff because the code might be different. You know, the way the engine works might be different in the newer version. But that'll be okay. I think we'll convert it in place. There's not too much code here anyway. Oh, cool, and we didn't even need to convert it, so. This is our Minecraft world. We'll let it compile the shaders and stuff. Okay, now those shaders are coming in. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see we've got this basic creeper guy here. And what I did with this is, let's see, I put a cube here. Looks like I took another cube and I smushed it, right? And basically made the basic creeper. So what do you guys think? Should we start out using as a creeper, or is there any mob that we want to kind of start? Or should we do like our world first? What would you recommend we should do? What are your thoughts? And you can unmute your mic too if you want, or you can put it in the chat. So as you think about that, since we have a creeper, I think we can probably use that. Let's see if we have any other stuff here. How about when I hit play? We get anything to play? No, just standard character. Okay, cool. Cam says pigs have low health and almost no abilities. So we should start with pig, is what you're saying. Or not. All right, so to send something from one project to another, we do what's called migrating. So I'm going to highlight the things I want to migrate, asset actions, migrate, and then, yes, hit OK. You're going to click the content folder of the project you want to send it to. So Minecraft Mobsters is going to get this. So it's going to be Unreal Projects, P3, Minecraft Mobsters, content. Hit select, and bam, that stuff is now in here. Okay. So now let's see if it'll work on the regular cube. If we can just build it based off of that. Yes, it will. Okay. So let's build us a creeper. So the cows are able to tank a little more and have higher health. Yeah, probably. So I talked about how there's this idea of like parent-child like relationships and stuff. So right now we're on a third-person character. Here, I'm gonna close out this other project. What I'm gonna do, let's actually save this as one mesh and also migrate that. That way I don't have to rebuild it. So if I right-click, we'll do convert static mesh, sm_creeper _01. SM stands for static mesh. Static mesh just means a model. We're going to migrate it. Boom, again. Minecraft Mobsters content, perfect. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to close out that project, full screen this one, and let's begin. So I'm kind of torn here. I don't know whether I should do the smart programmer thing, where you program every general function, every general ability on one character, and then the specific types of characters or classes, creepers, pigs, endermen, spiders, whatever, inherit from that top class. It's probably a good idea to do that. Last time looks like we added things for player health, strength, and speed. So I think we'll do the inheriting thing. Yeah, we'll do the inheriting thing. Okay. So, oh, did we talk about whether it was going to be first person or not? First person or third person? What do you guys think? Caleb says first. We said first. Yes, we did. Okay, and everyone said first. So we're first person. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Then it'll be in first person then. Okay. That actually might make things a little simpler. All right. So I'm going to change the name of third person character to character mob parent. Okay, so it's the parent and all the child classes, those different specific things will come down. Hey, can you get a warning about my sound? You hear me? Yeah or nay? Perfect. Okay, cool. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, guys. All right, so how do we make a child of this? What I'm going to do is just right-click on the blueprint, create child class, and let's start with a creeper. So BP creeper. This would be the first game probably ever made where you can play a creeper. Although I know some of you guys play that in real life. All right, so I mean, we have the mesh, but it's sort of not needed now that I think about it. You know, by the way, let's just give ourselves just really quick. I want to give ourselves kind of like the basic landscape of making the blocks like populated in the world. Or we can keep working against this kind of gray third person world. I'm going to take it to you guys. What do you think we should do? Should we focus on making like a Minecraftian world where we'll procedurally generate some blocks and things like that, you know, around here? Or should we focus on character controls and getting the creeper to move and act and feel like a creeper? Either one is going to take the rest of class, which is about 15 minutes. So we can only do one of those things. All right, this is a good opportunity for a poll. Okay, people are saying that. Okay, so let's, I think I know the answer, but what to do? Make the Minecraft environment is really the question, or make the creepers features. All right, that poll has been launched. Everybody can vote, and you can see each other's votes. So go ahead and vote on that. There's 19 people on this call, so I should see a total of 19 votes. Okay, we're getting an overwhelming response saying we need to make the Minecraft environment. Still more opportunity votes. For the rest of you, yep, good. Okay, so we're going to focus on making the environment. So there's a couple things about this. So first off, does anybody know what engine the Minecraft's made in? It's a good question. Who knows? I know it uses Java. It's true, Java edition, right? It's kind of a trick question. It's their own game engine. So yeah, it is. So the developer, originally Notch, right? So he made the game engine that runs and would be used to edit the rest of Minecraft, and he made it in Java. The reason I asked that is, so we're using a totally different engine. We're using a AAA graphical intensive kind of engine. So we have to be very particular about how we spawn huge, ginormous dynamic worlds, because we're running a game engine that has, high definition lighting and shadows and this kind of stuff built in. So we gotta be really careful about that. So I'm thinking about how do we want the world to exist. There's a couple ways we could do it. I could be like, well, the game's about being a mob, and so therefore we're just going to have, I'll just hand place all the cubes, right? Or we could do the procedural generation of stuff, which is more authentically Minecraft. And I think you guys probably want to do the procedural generation stuff, or not. Give me a this or a that or a this. Procedural generation, we like that? Okay, cool. All right, I appreciate the participation. Thank you. Let's do something along the lines of procedural generation. This is something that would definitely need to be probably perfected over multiple classes. So with procedural generation, there's the actual getting it to work point of view, and then there's the despawning of faraway objects and making it really efficient. Okay, so since we're using Unreal and we're not using Java, we have to keep in mind that this time we might get some lag even on a pretty small environment. But let's get started with it. So what I think we're gonna do, I'm wondering if our blocks should be static meshes or not. Because if we make them blueprints, let me think about that. Okay, so let's make a blueprint called a spawner. Okay, this is the spawning thing. You want it to be a blueprint? Or maybe it should just be in the world. Thinking, thoughts. You have to think like this because you might develop a whole bunch of code and then you may be moving it later. I think I'm going to put it actually on the level blueprint. So level blueprint's here, open level blueprint. Let's do custom event. We're going to say spawn new blocks procedurally. Okay. And so we have this node called spawn actor from class. And we can make, I'm going to make the block its own blueprint. I am going to do that. So we're going to do this. We're going to make something called a block. Okay, so new blueprint class, name it actor. If we play with place blocks, it would be Minecraft dungeons. That's true. Yeah, if I pre-placed them, then we got the dungeons thing, which they did that on purpose, right? Because it's a different style of game. This is obviously a different style of game. I'm just going to name this block. Okay, and this would be our fundamental block. Let's give it a static mesh that is a cube. Bam. Okay. Maybe we can give it some kind of material or something just for the moment. Okay. So that is a basic block. Let's make sure that the size is right. So if I put my grid snap on 50, these should snap perfectly next to each other. Actually, when I'm on 100, they should snap perfectly. So if I make a copy, so that's good. So that's actually really nice because these blocks are exactly the size that they're at. That will keep everything snapping, which means that in my spawning algorithm, I'm going to spawn every 100 units. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is spawn actor from class. We're going to spawn block, the actor we just made, and spawn transform is simply asking, hey, where are we putting this in the world? Okay, that's what a transform is. Transform is the location, the rotation, the scale. Leave rotation alone. We don't care about that. Things don't really rotate in Minecraft anyway, and even if they did, we don't want them to. We want the block to be where it's at. And then scale, we're going to leave alone. That's the size of it. But location's the thing that needs to be changed. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a variable out of this. Promote to variable. We'll name this spawn location of next block. Okay. So right now, if trigger this, it's going to spawn a block where it's going to spawn it at location 0, 0, 0, which is in the middle of the world, which could be like right around here. In fact, actually, let me delete this stuff. Those black shadows are there because we haven't built yet. Now, if I trigger this to happen on the beginning of the game, begin play, we only see your face on the Meet and on stream. We see what you're doing. Really? Okay, gotcha. So wait, on the Google Meet, you only see my face. It might have reverted to using my webcam on Google Meet, but I want to make sure everybody can see this, so let me take care of that. Yeah, you don't see the desktop on here? Shoot. Thanks for letting me know. Oh yeah, I see that too. Yeah, it switched over to my actual webcam. All right, this should fix it. That fix it? Cool. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know, guys. Hey, in the future, feel free to like unmute your mic so that I don't go too long, and just tell me that so I don't go too long without you guys being able to see it. So anyway, I made this event, spawn new blocks procedurally, and we're spawning actor from class here. We decide, okay, it asks you where are we spawning it. We don't care about the rotation, we don't care about the scale. We do care about the location of the block. So we made a variable out of that called spawn location at 0, 0, 0, which is going to be right in the middle right here. So if I trigger that event on the beginning of the game, spawn new blocks procedurally, since we're only doing this one time, we should see one block appear at location 0, 0, 0 right here. Let's see. Here, I'm going to hit simulate. Actually, where is our block? Not spawn. Oh, let's change collision handling to always spawn ignore collisions. That might have prevented it from spawning. Begin play, spawn. I'm telling you, spawn at 0, 0, 0. Make sure my numbers aren't off. So if I set this to 0, 0, 0. Oh, okay, so it's spawning right underneath the map is where it is. That's why we weren't seeing it. Okay, so let's actually bring this map just down a little bit, just so you can see it. I'm going to play. Okay, see how it spawned? So it spawned our brick. Our code is telling it to spawn there. And we just want to do that same idea multiple times. So we can do that in a whole bunch of really cool ways. So we could do something called a for loop that will repeat functionality. It will keep doing something as many times as you want it. So that last index is the number that you want it to happen, essentially. So if I want something to happen 50 times, I'll do it 50 times. I put this in the loop body, and now it's going to spawn it 50 times. And, little anticlimactic, right? Well, here's the thing. 50 blocks have been spawned just there at that location in the same spot. You actually got to change location, right? So what we want to do is change location each time that this for loop body works. Now remember, we're grabbing it from a variable. So once we've spawned it, we'll set the variable to some new number, and then every time it goes in, it'll set it to a new number, and set it to a number, and set it to a new number, therefore setting the next block to be in a different location. So let's do this. Set spawn location of next block to itself. We'll get itself right here, plus, and we have these different axes, right? X, Y, X and Y, and then Z's up and down. So we're going to ignore Z for right now. But we just want to spawn a row of blocks. Let's say, okay, every 100 units, because that's what it is. So we'll add 100 to the variable. So our code says, hey, do this thing 50 times. On each time you do it, yeah, spawn it wherever this variable is set to, this number. And then, hey, once you're done spawning that one, modify that variable to be itself plus 100. So it's always going to spawn. So this should spawn like a row of them. So let's see if that works. Hit play. Bam, we got a row of 50. Okay, so that was a procedural spawning that just happened, right? So now what you want to start doing is going, okay, we might spawn a row this way, but now we got to have this happen in 3 dimensions. And that's what I have 4 minutes left, so we'll see how we can do that. So, so let's say you do a row like this. I'm trying to think the most efficient way to do this. Thinking. I mean, you could spawn like a row that way, row that way, row that way, row that way. Or you could spawn them all vertically and then kind of do it like that. And the other question is, like, we want that random variation to come in, right? So at some point we're going to have something called like block type, which is actually a really cool thing to have. Actually, let's do that real quick, called different types of blocks. And obviously bricks are not natural spawning things, so someone probably want to do next time, or if someone wants to collect them for me, give me Minecraft skins. I just need the textures, and then I'll put them in here, right? So if you give me the texture for this way, whatever wants stone to look like, water to look like, whatever, we'll hook them in. But let's do this real quick. We're gonna make a few different block types. So blueprints, enumeration. Enumeration just means a list. We're naming this E_E for enumeration. Block type. All right, guys, give me some block types, some naturally occurring block types. Destiny says grass. Bam. Grass. Dirt. Stone. What else? Sand. Perfect. Wood. Perfect. A couple different types of woods too. I'll put wood parentheses and then we'll put the actually wood type. So I'll put birch. Is birch one? I think it is. Sandstone. Leaves. Leaves is one. That's a great one actually. Yeah, we'll do leaves. I'm gonna change wood to birch to oak, I think. All right, and then gravel. Cool. All right, that's good enough, I think, for now. Well, oh, water. We'll do water too. Okay. All right. I love using enums. I use them all the time. Here's why. I can make a variable out of that list I just made, and I can go back and modify the list anytime I want. And I can, on our block here, make a variable called block type, or whatever I want to name it. Okay. And I can set it to that enum, which I also named eBlock type. Okay. Now, I can actually set this thing to be identified as either grass, stone, dirt, that sort of stuff. Now, it's not changing the way it looks because we don't have code in there to tell it to change the way it looks yet, right? But we can do that. We should do that pretty simply. So we're going to do that. I'm going to keep you guys on like 5 more minutes. Okay, so everybody stay on, 5 more minutes. Let's do this. Set material. Actually, before we do that, obsidian, right? So let's set whatever material this block is wearing, so to speak, over here, based on whether, on what type of enum it's selected. If it says stone, set it to stone material. If it says grass, set it to the grass material. So do this. So you can grab your enum and drag off of it and type in the word switch, and then you get this great thing where it gives you a different node depending on what this thing is. Okay, so that's really simple. Now I just could say, hey, set the material of the cube to whatever grass material I have. Now I have some grasses from starter content, so we're just going to use the starter content stuff right now, so it won't look very Minecrafty, but it'll still be all right. There's one called rust that actually looks better as a dirt. There is a cobblestone actually that looks really nice. There's not a sand in starter content, but there is a sandstone, so we'll use that. There is a couple really good woods. Oh, we do have this pine-looking thing. Okay, cool. Probably should just copy this cube over with all of them. Doesn't really matter, but we'll do it like that. Wood. All right, got leaves and gravel and water. Okay. Copy and paste. For, okay, leaves. We actually have something called bush that will be perfect for leaves. It's like transparent, looks exactly like the Minecraft leaves. We do have a gravel. It's all from starter content, and then we do have a water. Ocean water. Actually looks really good. Okay, so let's plug that in. So we're wiring this all in, allowing our blocks to be of different types. Now what's cool is, while this code says, hey, depending on what block type it is, change the appearance, later on we'll be able to change the stats of the block. How strong is the block? Does the block have collision or not? Right? Water doesn't. Things like that. So is it a harmful block? Does it cause damage? Okay, now I've done that, I'm put on construction script. So cool is, you can see the default block type, I guess, is sand. If I change it to stone, it knows to change to the stone. If I change it to dirt, it knows to change to the dirt. Change it to leaves, it knows to change to the leaves. Change it to gravel, it knows to change to the gravel. Change it to water, it knows to change to the water. Okay? So we've already got something that's kind of dynamically doing this. Now what we want to do is actually expose that setting into our spawner and say, hey, when you spawn this thing, can you randomly choose one of these things? So let's do that. So if you check mark expose on spawn on a variable, this is a great little feature of the engine. You can check mark expose on spawn in any variable, and next time you spawn that thing, bam, that setting shows up right here for you to change. So right now, with it set to water, it's going to spawn only water blocks. Watch. See? Now what we want to do is kind of vary it randomly. So what we'll do right now is, eventually what we'll do is we'll write a more appropriate random selection algorithm, essentially, or a function that'll be like, that'll take weights into consideration. And so that way you can give certain things a certain like likelihood of spawning over another thing. So it might be really likely to spawn gravel and much less likely to spawn iron kind of thing. And even less likely to spawn diamond. So we'll have those weights. Right now, we're just gonna give everybody's a fair chance. Okay, we're gonna get the enum, and it's gonna be a fair chance. So let's do this. I wonder if I could do it like this: random item. Let me think. So let's see if I make this into a variable that has all this and the block type, all the block types ever. Okay, so everything in that list, block types. What we can do is if I make it get I'm trying to think of a better way, good way to do this. Again, just trying to consider, like, you know, we might have 100 blocks at one point. We don't want to hard code anything into this, but I'm like, okay, how can I ask the enum for everything in its list? I don't think you can. This is the part where you Google stuff, and we're going to Google this right now. UE4, can you get the items in an enum blueprints? Actually, no, if I get the number of items, then I'll be good. The number of items okay, so this is exactly the question I'm looking for. Let's see if they solved it. Just do get number of entries. Get number of entries. Interesting. Okay, let's look into that. Entries. Get number of entries. Oh, I think it's just solving that. It looks like it's from a widget or something. Okay, whatever. All right. So the way I would do it. Okay. I'm just thinking this is probably isn't the best way to do it, future-proof wise, but here's a way that we can get it so that we have something to go off of that's random. We're gonna make, okay, so we have, we're gonna make this the chosen block type to spawn. Okay, so chosen block to spawn, and that's going to get set to what? We're going to get a random number, get random integer, get random integer. Oh, that's interesting. You can't get random integers on the level blueprint. Didn't know that was a thing. Huh. Could do seed related stuff. Okay, no, let me think about this one because I don't want to rush into this like thing anyway. But just know that now that we say, hey, on spawn stone, it's going to spawn just stone. The idea is we want that to vary. We want it to be really random. Maybe we can build the randomness into the block itself. I mean, that wouldn't be too hard. So actually, that would be, I'll show you how that works real quick. We just say, hey, at the beginning of the game, get random integer. I'm trying to figure out why that isn't showing up for me right now. Random get. Okay, don't type in get. That's what it is. Don't type in get. Just do random integer. All right, random integer in range is what you want. Random int in range between 0 and whatever is the top number that you want, which is why I wanted the number of items in that enum. And because I can just go, hey, oh, just count right now, I'm like, yeah, but it's going to change later. So we can say right now, okay, between 0 and 7, give me a random thing, and I can plug that into, see if I can use it to enum to byte. That might work, maybe. That right there. So basically you can convert a number into an enum selection, which is what just happened there. So let's see. If we see a bunch of varied blocks, then we know that it worked. Again, that is not good. I want a better system in the future, even if this works. But let's see. Yep, we have varied blocks. So that, is varying them randomly. But they're all equally random, right? The leaves have an equal chance to spawn as the wood, as the water. And the idea is at some point, we're going to want to ask the algorithm, hey, what level are we on? What strata are we on? Now, the way Minecraft does this is they have a kind of a vertical like location. Like you can see it in on the PC mode or whatever. It'll say, oh, you're a block, -52 or something, and you know where you're at. Well, we can ask the same question because remember, we're spawning. Let's go back to our spawning algorithm. Spawn location of next block. Remember we're talking about the location stuff? That the z-axis is the height. And since we're spawning only every 100 blocks, because each block is 100 units wide, we can take that and boil that down to a number, just divide 100 into it, and then we'll have what layer somebody's on. And then we can choose different spawning weights and different things to spawn depending on where something's at. So that is some of the procedural stuff. Thanks everybody for staying on longer. I hope that was valuable.